Just a
Okay.
second. Hello, Marlene. I'm
Hi,
James of
James.
Damn Good Coffee Time. You've met me before, I believe.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
And thank you for coming back. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for
In all
thank you for
seriousness.
having me. Okay.
So we're now live, and we're not planning on doing a 2-hour video like before. But as much as I enjoyed doing that, I remember doing that 2-hour one and thinking, "Oh wow, I didn't think it was that long." And
Yeah.
it was enjoyable all the time, so I didn't notice the time really.
Mhm. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, right? That's what they say.
Absolutely. I mean, was that the one that our last one? I think that had Voltaire on it, or
Yeah, it was with Voltaire and I think Josh.
okay, well, anyway, let's
I
just.
think Josh was
I just
mentioning that
wanted
he
to
had
say that
seen.
I have got a recorded message from Voltaire. Even I know you invited him onto the show, and he left a message.
Listen, you'll have to excuse me. I have a lunch meeting with Cliff Huxtable at Four Seasons in 20 minutes.
Oh, sorry to hear.
I don't know what that's all about.
He needs to work to make money.
That's Cliff Huxtable he's meeting there. And then he
But
followed
it's
out
strange,
with
like 10
he
o'clock.
followed out with this message.
This is Sussudio. A great song. Personal favorite.
So that's him.
That's
Yeah,
strange.
I asked him for a normal message, but he just told me about his favorite song, Sussudio, from Genesis.
Oh, okay.
I presume you've not actually seen the film American Psycho, because these are
American Psycho. No,
quotes
of
from
course
that.
I've seen it. Yeah. Cool. With Christian.
You
Bale.
actually thought these were Voltaire, though, for a moment.
Of course, but I don't remember any song from there. I don't know. I just remember the main thing.
Well, no, it's a film some people have, no doubt, like me, watched more than once, and but I did remember that the first time I saw it, how he would start talking about certain music and how much he loved Sussudio, that track. So,
yeah.
as well as Huey Lewis and the News. It's he was quite serious about it, Interesting. What? About I think what the character what he's trying to do, or it's a subconscious thing in some ways. I mean, what's funny about it is that he's taking it as like some kind of lifestyle choice of just greatness or something by recommending what is really quite mainstream pop music to people, as if they would never have even considered this music as being great in some way. I mean, and it's not like there's anything that he's saying is untrue. I mean, if he really likes the music, but another comment I heard was that he's just trying to be like normal people, that kind of thing. So I think there's something about that.
It's just
I'm not sure if he says
try
that at
to
some
be
point.
like normal people. No, just be like yourself, like weird or whatever you are. Unless you are Christian Bale in American Psycho, so don't be like yourself.
No, I mean I think he's pressuring himself to be what he views as normal, and that's causing this sort of upswelling of just rage and kind of hostility towards people that he's either imagining or whether it's real or not. I think the film certainly gives a lot of indications that it's pretty much in his mind, all of the violent stuff. But
yeah, well, I didn't care too much for the movie. I don't know. It's just
it's not. I'll say
it's just
I
a
can
very
appreciate
boring
that.
psychopath related movie. Psycho.
Yeah, I mean, I
Involving
can
a
see,
psycho.
I can understand what you're saying, and
I mean, it's
even
because the guy is not a 3D character. He's like mostly like 2-dimensional. It's like all bad, you know. It's like, do you know like what I mean? Because there are some psychopaths in the movies that are really lovable, you know. I don't know if you have seen the You series. That guy is like quite enjoyable to watch, you know, quite lovable character. And he has killed so many people. It's like a serial killer who has never been caught. I mean, never been
right,
caught.
but
And he's still likable, you know, as a person because he does good things in the same time, you know. You know what I mean? It's just like a very, you know, very, how do you, like a unclear, you know, like how do you say, like it doesn't like he's not completely evil, you know, he's not completely psychopathic. He has good things about him that raises his value a bit, like helping little children, you know, or helping other people at the same time.
yeah,
But then, you know, the urges
nobody
come.
is entirely one way or the other, are they? Everybody has,
Hmm.
you know, it's like a small child, like when they're born and everything, when they grow up to be a toddler, they're not
Hmm.
kind of just exhibiting evil traits, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure, but well, it's children can be evil though, but that's because they don't almost know that they don't know the difference between, you know, acting on sort of impulses and I don't know. They do. I think they know underneath that what's good and bad to some degree, but yeah.
So you're referring to the Halloween movie, right? With the guy, the main killer who was like started
So
stabbing
Michael
his,
Myers.
yeah, stabbing his babysitter, or who else? You remember when they showed that scene? Like,
Well, I
what the
think
fuck was
it's
that?
the thing
American
is,
Psycho.
it's like he's shown at the end with this like really effective sequence of the camera pulling back to reveal
Hmm.
him against the house, standing there, kind of almost looking towards the camera and everything. But the knife is almost like half his size,
Yeah.
so it I mean, it's not exactly believable, is it? Really, that, but
No, it's not believable. But you know, in the history of criminality, because I have studied this for a short while, because I have done this master thesis on criminality or something like that, criminal behavior. I studied this criminal behavior and criminals. So there are criminals who actually were 8, 10 years old, and they were like in prison because they've done a lot of crimes when they were 8 or 10, and they were still in prison, but they were like freed maybe like in their 40s or 50s. But it's possible, you know. I don't remember the name of there was this little girl, like she was 10, and she has done a lot of crimes, and she was imprisoned for her entire life. So
there's
how can you explain that?
there's quite famous, probably there is a quite famous video on YouTube where there's a little girl being interviewed, and it says labels her as a psychopath, you know. Or,
Okay, oops.
but
I should watch that.
in that she sort of, I think
I
it wouldn't be
prefer.
very hard to find the video, but it's a real interview and everything, and she's just saying that she wants to, you know, hurt her parents and her siblings. She's just like
um
anti her own family, basically, just totally
yeah.
vehemently against them. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly, but she did. I think in the interview she just seems very flat, you know. So she's she must be somewhat disturbed for sure. And I think then
Yeah, probably.
she was taken into some kind of therapeutic program, and she improved. So
Mm-hmm.
she became
Yeah,
more
but
aware of the idea of the impact of you know, wanting to hurt people, but also it must be partly to do with her connection to people. So
Hmm. Yeah, because some child killers, they can relate to other people only through, like to, abuse or killings. That's how they learned it as a child. That's the normal way of relating for them. Like as just very typical. If they grow up in a terrible home environment, most of these children grow up in a terrible home environment, and also it's like, because Phantom Cooper says that those ugly freaks should be humanized. It's like the killers, because I've talked with a criminal psychologist. I have interviewed her, and she said that most of the killers in prison there, they didn't plan the killings, and they were just like having major issues, and the only way they could express those issues is through a crime. She said that they were almost happy to be in prison because so they wanted to be heard, somehow. So that was like a manifestation of their pain, the crime.
yeah, I mean, mostly in these cases, for instance, you're talking about youngsters and everything, and either or anyone young-ish, teenagers, anything. They're not necessarily fully aware of how they are sort of motivated, but
Yeah,
then they do. Once they are punished, then they sort of realize this is almost what they wanted, as you're saying.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
Just to one
it's
extent or
not
another.
black and white, black or white kind of thinking about these people. That's why I love the series because the guy is like relatable. Like, he's not just evil all the
But he's
time.
never punished. He's never sent to prison or anything,
So
though.
I haven't finished the series, so I don't know if he is discovered, but let's see. But apparently,
That's
no,
the
no.
kind of
First
issue
season,
I have. I mean,
yeah.
I do, like with Phantom Cooper, I can understand why she may feel like this character's going away unpunished, and it's
Oh,
almost
okay.
like it's glamorizing somebody who's
Glamorizing, yeah.
a
I understand that, yeah.
psychopath or whatever, and so.
Sure, sure.
And
I
I
mean,
don't know. The only thing
it's
that put me
fiction,
off
so.
watching that show, for instance, is and I'm not trying to be. I do wonder sometimes is if they're often aimed more at a female audience, things like You, where there's the sort of glamorous psycho, and
That's
I
true.
don't know.
That's
It's
true. I mean, it's totally true. It appeals
there's
to the
something
female
of that.
audience a lot.
Well, we've had it with in the UK, the EastEnders soap opera, that had a psychopath character, serial killer. And
Oh,
people
okay,
would
yeah.
say, like, why are they introducing this kind of thing into EastEnders? It's just, you can't sympathize with this sort of situation and everything. It's just too much.
No.
It's just trying to get viewers, maybe, or whatever. But I don't know. The main problem actually was with this character called Gray, and he was actually a lawyer, sort of solicitor or whatever. Not like a bit like Voltaire, really. He, I mean, the actor. People criticize the actor, though. That was the problem. My mum described his acting style. She says the way he speaks, it's like very staccato, and it's like sort of yeah, and it was, but yeah, it's all about. I presume in You, though, that the acting is probably somewhat better.
Very good. It's perfect acting. I mean, that's how I feel. Victimless crimes. You could victimless crimes.
That's like in the film.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
Well, there was a recent film though with Ben Whishaw, who I think he plays Q now in the Bond, James Bond and everything. Cool. But he played this character in this film called Surge, and he just suddenly starts doing crazy shit, basically.
Okay.
And it's kind of like he's having he's going manic, basically, or it's just really it's interesting what exactly is happening. But
Manic depressive.
Well, in this, it seems to be incredibly focused more on the manic side of things, for sure. So he just starts. He's like got this thankless job at customs, working in. I think he's working in an airport in London, you know, and he just cracks one day. It's just, and that's it.
Oh God!
And he starts.
Those are the most terrible, dangerous killers. Who crack.
Oh, he's not a killer. He's not. He doesn't do anything which actually harms anyone.
Okay.
So he just, and he's like, he's kind of like, you know, really wiry and just not particularly. He's not a threatening character. So yeah, and he kind of loses his job, I presume, and then he sort of just. There's one point where, for some reason, he doesn't seem to have any credit. He hasn't got any money in his bank, so he just immediately is like hot wired into it. He's just, I've got to go in and just do this and ask the bank, just not ask the bank, demand the bank to give me some money, and he does
demand.
it more than once.
Hey,
just ask.
Hey, just
ask. Can I have £5,000, please? What is this?
Oh, that would be great.
Is this a robbery? No.
No, it's not a robbery. I'm asking you kindly.
He actually writes a note. He writes a note, as far as I'm aware, and it's. I really recommend that. It's an interesting little indie film. So, good evening to Gary. Thank you for being here.
Good evening.
Phantom Cooper says you and Dexter romanticize serial killers, not even just making them relatable. So
no, it's true. It is It is true. They romanticize serial killers.
Well, they sort of make them into more of a fantasy type of figure than a. So in a way, it's almost making them not seem, you know, like a real thing, like a real threat.
Yeah.
But then,
yeah, I mean,
to how many people are, you know, how many people know serial killers? You know, I mean,
how many people know serial killers?
So it's fairly unusual.
Yeah, like if you know a serial killer, then probably you wouldn't be, you'd be, you know, sitting at a computer.
Well, no, I think but the idea of romanticizing these things, like, to me, like, say I go into a quality bookstore or WH Smith here, and you go to the true crime section. To me, I find even that as being like romanticizing things.
The crime books.
But
I
think I'm being somewhat harsh on them, for instance.
No, it's not harsh. I mean, the show You is made after the books written by Carolyn Kepnes, and I read the first book. It's really, really, really good, but it's like exactly just romanticizing that serial killer and what he did to the main character, which was more horrible than in the show. In the show, they were trying to just soften him, you know, to make him less terrible. In the book, he was just a horrible sociopath and psychopath. It's just the Hollywood way of, you know, softening things up to appeal to the audience, you know, because it's not like that in the book. Just like makes you queasy when you read.
Well, for me, it's like there is a fascination with a degree of sort of the sort of strange, forbidding world of all of this kind of stuff. Like, you know, ever since I saw Silence of the Lambs, you know, and then the film Manhunter, which I really liked, but that was before. And but that didn't make me want to watch all of this TV show Hannibal, though, because not really, because of the casting, partly, like the casting of Hannibal, and even the casting actually of what's the name of the FBI agent in the first one? Anyway, the first Will Graham. Sorry, yeah.
Mm. I don't remember. I haven't watched it.
But it's all about the quality of the actual production and everything that
Mm-hmm.
makes it for me, I suppose.
Yeah. But I don't know if. Yeah.
Did you ever watch that TV show that was on Netflix called Mindhunter? It had 2 seasons, so
Oh.
that was
No, I heard about it. No.
You'd probably enjoy that one.
Mm. Okay, it's
was
about
well done.
criminal psychologist. Criminal psychology.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I've watched the John Gacy tapes. God, I couldn't sleep after that.
Was that on Netflix?
Yeah, the tapes of John Gacy.
Is that a documentary or?
Yeah, it's a documentary about the killer. He was the most famous or killer in the history, or the killer who killed the most people, or I don't know. It's like very popular because there were many years that they were
most
talking
grotesque.
about it. Yeah, something like that, and it's like because people said that they shouldn't give so much attention to him, but they gave so much attention to many years in a row before they executed him, and I was like, why would you do that? I don't understand. Why would you give attention to this guy for so many years? It's like almost satisfying to him.
Just fascination people have, and also viewers making money. Views. I don't know.
Views, yeah.
If TV companies making stuff about him or whatever, but didn't he cut someone's head off and then put it facing the house, so it's like looking at the house or something?
No, I don't think. No, he didn't cut. He didn't cut the people's heads, but he.
Oh, okay.
He strangled them with a really interesting method, like with a rope, and then he put a knot at the end, at the end of the knot, and then he would put a pencil in the knot, and then he would just turn the pencil, and they would get, it would get very tight. The leash, the rope
asphyxiated.
And yeah, so they were like, he was slowly asphyxiating them, like by turning the pencil. It was like horrible when I heard that. That was his method.
Well, you're getting me too disturbed already.
To what?
Well, the idea of all that. But the thing is, Gary says, has Marlena seen the original Manhunter film from that's about 1987 it came out, I think. It's by it was directed by Michael Mann, but it's basically the first adaptation of the novel Red Dragon, which comes before Silence of the Lambs. And so Lynch was actually given the option to make that, but he passed on it. So the film is really good. I think it's you could easily argue it's superior to Silence of the Lambs, but I think both are really good films.
Oh, okay. So. Manhunter. Even.
Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose people might be a bit confused by the title they gave it instead of opting for Red Dragon, but then there's now that TV show called Mindhunter. I mean, Manhunter sounds very 80s, thriller type title, but
Manhunter, yeah.
But I'm not sure it really sells the film, considering that it's got Hannibal Lecter in it, spelt differently, and played by what's his name, who's in this new show Succession and everything. Geez, my memory is getting really bad sometimes. What is the name of the Manhunter character? Well, he's played Brian Cox. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You probably know who William Peterson is. Tom Noonan is really great. That's the Tooth Fairy in it. It's a really great film. 1986. Joan Allen as well. Of course, it was remade as Red Dragon with Ed Norton in it, and
Oh, okay.
various people, and with Anthony Hopkins reprising the Hannibal Lecter role. But you know, Manhunter is sort of more of an interesting film than that.
Okay. Yeah. Check
It's
it
very, very arty, really, but good,
Okay.
but very good. Not tedious or anything.
Oh, okay. Not like David Lynch's Twin Peaks 3. No, I don't mean to sound no, I don't mean it's tedious, but it's a very, very arty kind of artistic or abstract.
It is somewhat, yeah. I mean, I don't think the whole thing I would describe it as that artsy, but it's definitely a bit out there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good. We jump into Twin Peaks now, but I just didn't understand what the heck was with the silly frog / I don't know, whatever that was that went into that woman's mouth. What was that about? I mean, it felt like it's just doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? That scene that is like
the girl, well, teenager. She was in the final dossier. I think it mentions her name as being Sarah Judith Novak. So
okay,
i.e. later Sarah Palmer. So she's supposed to be just an early view of Sarah, really, which
Palmer.
I don't. What does the frog moth and all that kind of thing? Does it symbolize something or not? I don't know. It's just
exactly.
It's like, does them listening to the radio with the woodsman talking over it, with that poem and everything. What does this all mean? I don't know. I won't say I pretend to know. Really, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I thought some of it was pretty good in that episode. Some scenes for sure.
Yeah. No, it was enjoyable.
Well, you give Lynch about 17 hours of programming like that, of content to make, and there's bound to be certain stretches of it which are more perplexing and just seem like filled up with things you've got no idea what the hell's going off. So
that's what happens when you don't have Mark Frost in the team. No.
Well, the thing is, it's like they did start writing it all together, but I think Lynch took over more, and it became, this other thing. And
exactly.
And so
they were a good couple, like Frost and Lynch. I think they just balanced each other because of the way they made the Twin Peaks 1 and 2. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, I think realistically, you'd think if there's that much, if they're going to do 18 parts of it, episodes, then you'd think, well, surely bring in, a couple of other people, say, other writers who wrote the original show, and then all four of them write something like that.
Yeah.
There's things in it like the vortex, when they see those vortexes in the sky in a couple of scenes in the woods, and Gordon Cole, and then also, for instance, the scenes of the Freddie smashing the bob ball all about inside the sheriff's station and all that. I just saw them as being like deliberately bad. You know, it's deliberately bad effects, and sort of it comes off like cheesy a bit, and so it makes you just question everything you're watching. It's like what's real amongst all of this, but in the end, like that didn't mean that I liked it. So, and then for me, really, it's like you've got to go through all of that, and then really I got to part 18, and I really thought part 18 was great. So
yeah,
I like the last part. I mean, and people could say, well, that's a bit arty, you know, but I don't know. I wouldn't describe it so much as arty as just like out there, you know. It doesn't. Nobody really behaves in a way which is even bordering on kind of realistic, for instance. So.
Yeah, in reality or in
well, like say with Agent Cooper or Richard, you know, and he just sort of takes obviously you can see that he's trying to do something good in terms of standing up for the waitress, but you don't, you know, the way to do that isn't to start like actually shooting one of them in the foot. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like when it happens, they just sort of they react by kind of one of them's on the floor and then one of them says something like, "What the hell just happened?" or something, you know, and you can imagine one of them would have followed him outside. They wouldn't just stay sat there. If they've been shot by an FBI agent, I mean, yeah, okay, they were in the wrong.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm looking at it from one angle, and then from any angle you look at it, none of it makes any sense, does it? So
yeah, it's true. I think the acting is not as good as in 1 and 2. It's just like it flows very nicely, the acting of the, you know, the actors, you know, and their parts and everything. You know, like we have so many, you know, iconic, you know, acts, or you know, the Audrey's dance, and you know, Cooper and his coffee and all this stuff, you know. So it's like very many iconic scenes, but there is no, you know, there's nothing.
Well,
nothing
no, I
like
mean,
that.
the thing with the first 2 seasons is they were mainly, apart from the pilot, you know, filmed on sets in Hollywood, and you know, the return wasn't. It's sort of mostly set in real life locations and places, but
Oh,
it's
in
just
Las Vegas, you mean?
like the Las Vegas stuff was all filmed in California, but you know, it's most of the places are real places. There's only a few sets in it and things, but but regardless, like most of it just feels like, you know, alienating, kind of cinema of alienation, in the sense of the choice of actors and things, you know, like with Tom Sizemore as the guy who works with Dougie and stuff. It just seems like this casting is just odd, you know, like what?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't go together.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't gel. Like everything just feels awkward. Like the scenes where he's trying to poison Dougie. You know, it's like, okay, so we're now poisoning a disabled man, you know, who nobody actually even acknowledges is not well. Or not well, he can't function in daily life. I mean,
poor doggy. He's kind of funny, you know. In his
there's some scenes. I mean, I find it funny when he just bangs his head into the glass when he's going through trying to get through the door. But like with Voltaire, he'd say, you know, that was like the one, just terrible. You know, it's just an example.
He doesn't like doggy, Voltaire.
He didn't like the way that the show devoted a lot of time to that character. No.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, they had to bring a type of Cooper into reality, or into real life, that was not the same as the last one we've seen. Because
I think
it's
one
not
thing that
possible
people
to
might
remain the same.
find difficult is like it's everything is so sort of isolated in these kind of bubbles, like the Dougie character within Las Vegas. It's just like he's trapped there, kind of in purgatory. I mean, whether the whole thing's him really inside the Black Lodge, for instance, which I think is very likely. But the thing is, like, there's no movement between one place and another. Like, we never see Dougie just suddenly turn up in Buckhorn, and then there's like Gordon Cole, and so there's no interaction between these different characters.
Yeah,
really, it's all just like a performance going on, and
that's true.
So it doesn't give it this kind of dramatic weight that the original Twin Peaks often relied upon. Well, I mean, very much from the start. I mean, this is hardly an amazing point by me, but the real weight of Twin Peaks from the start was to do with Who Killed Laura Palmer. As everybody knows, Lynch hated the fact that was going to be revealed, so that then it kills the golden goose or whatever he said and stuff. But
the cliffhanger.
Like, I mean, it's almost, you could joke like that Lynch looked at how Twin Peaks and Frost, how it was after that the killer was revealed, and then almost made this sort of strange version of that, because when Twin Peaks went through its rough patches, after that, some people liked certain aspects from it, but there's no denying some of it was just not up to snuff as such. It wasn't great. So
after that,
I mean, many people thought that they liked Windermere, that found it funny, menacing, whatever. Other people thought this is a load of rubbish, And I was sort of in between. I could see both. I didn't really. I think with me, I just enjoyed the fact that Twin Peaks was still on. Yeah. But I knew that this wasn't the Twin Peaks that I originally started watching, and
were you watching it?
Better to be honest about that.
Were you watching it like as it was, shown on TV, like in that time? Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I used to always like try and video each episode. So I could watch them all.
You had to catch it on TV, yeah.
Although it was actually shown twice in the week here, so.
Twice, okay. Yeah, I just watched it sporadically because my parents had the control of the TV, and they were watching it also. And I just remember only a few episodes. I just watched it for the first time, the whole series in 2000, maybe 18 or something. And since then, I just repeated, rewatched it for, I don't know, 6-7 times.
I do think you're about right, Gary, for sure. There, in your comment about that's the last time we see Cooper properly, is about by episode 3 where he goes through the electric socket. But later on, when he appears at what looked kind of like Glastonbury Grove, it's like he just, and Diane says, "Is this really you, Cooper?" And he says, "Yes, this is really me, Diane," and it does seem genuine. So. But the thing is, it's like that happens, and then all of a sudden they go on their trip, their road trip, and it's like, well, he doesn't seem to be quite that same Cooper anymore. So she's like, I mean, they go to that hotel, and she sees her double, and it's very confusing. Yeah. What does that mean,
Yeah.
Maybe
the double.
Way, I liked all of the Freddy scenes, even though I found the character like obviously ridiculous. But that scene where he was with James and he starts quoting the Beatles song "A Day in the Life," I thought that was, and then he quoted the lyrics before it got to, and then I, went into a dream, and so, I mean, the entirety of The Return is incredibly dreamlike. So,
yeah, that's true.
But I think there's things in it that just, with Lynch, that he's so sort of careful not to play his cards. Like, say, this is what I intended with the scene. You know, like how in The Return, we never even see Glastonbury Grove in full. We never see all the tall trees around it, and even the central bit of it, where in the original show it was like stones, white stones around it. In this, it's just this one, like a crust of a volcano around it, and it just looks like it looks like a kind of bad copy, and it's like it's so obvious Lynch has done this all on purpose, because you're like, this is not what I expected. This is not. It doesn't look. It's like a retrofitted Twin Peaks, or it's like a just. I mean, as soon as I saw Andy and Lucy in this, I thought, what the hell is going on? This is like a daycare facility for Andy and Lucy now.
Daycare facility.
No, but like they just let them kind of do their stuff out of the front, and then there's all that other stuff going off at the side where like we're just shown that there's all these other people working, you know, the woman with the desk, and then everything starts going haywire, and all these accidents coming in and stuff. It's like, well, why do we never see any of those lot walking around in the front part of the that's the main entrance? Doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
So
doesn't make sense, but that's Twin Peaks.
But it's deliberately not making sense, to the point where it's, you know, obtuse to the max. So, but I quite like that. But on the other hand, it's very infuriating sometimes. Yeah.
But I mean, I love the part where they brought Laura back and they helped her get back to her past or something like that, to reconnect with what happened to her or something like that. That was good, I think. Time travel. Remember that.
Yeah, I like that whole sequence.
Yeah.
But the very nature of that sequence actually pretty much just sort of sums up, you know, The Return in many ways, because it's all black and white, right? Okay, that's because it's in the past. But even that as a choice, there's no need to show it in black and white. It's almost like perverse sometimes, the things that Lynch does. But like, we know it's in the past. Why have you put it in black and white? But the thing is,
no, he's an artist. His mind is perverted by art.
Well, precisely. But also, why is if that's the
he's
part
the artist,
white,
the art's little bitch.
That part is in black and white. Why is the Monica Bellucci dream part in black and white? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So if it's a dream...
Because it's a dream. It's a dream, no?
Okay, so the whole thing with Cooper going back and saving Laura is a dream, then? All of part 8 is a dream.
It's not a dream.
We can't just immediately say that everything that's in black and white is a dream, because...
Yeah, that's true. No, I mean, because maybe he wanted to say that the line between dream and reality is very thin, you know. So it's like, because whatever you dream is like how do you say? It's like a figment of your subconscious mind. So you create the stuff that is in your subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is like very dreamy or something like that. It doesn't make sense. Anything in the subconscious mind does not make sense. It's not logical. It's not rational. I don't know. Just an idea.
Well, I can't figure out a lot of that for the life of me, honestly. But and I don't want to go into like some kind of trying to intellectualize about the whole thing. I actually don't think that Lynch necessarily is that interested in that, even that side of things. But I think for me, it did feel true, the idea of Cooper trying to rescue Laura, essentially, from being killed. Because, I mean, that's quite...
Yeah.
But it just leaves us perplexed, because we're not really sure what happens. It's like she's just... she's sucked off into the air. So,
no, but I mean, because... No,
screaming.
Listen, so... No, listen. In the Black Lodge, there is no time, you know. So you can go back in the past and in the future, whatever you want, you know, like in an instant. So so Cooper wanted to use the Black Lodge to go back in time to save Laura from being killed. You know?
Yeah, I partly see it as being like he did save one kind of, you know, iteration or whatever of her, one version
Yeah,
within an alternate reality as such, you know, because
probably.
but
But why did he want to save her? Because, you know, I mean, couldn't he just leave things as they are? Like, God damn it, stop fixing people. You know,
I
you
don't know.
should stop fixing.
I think there's almost like a strange meta nature to season 3 in that it's like there's this desire to go back to once was and
Mm-hmm.
sort of resurrect something. And so
Mm-hmm.
then the difficulty of doing that, it's like it's apparent within other places and things, like in the Las Vegas home where Dougie is, he's just got that cookie jar that's like an owl, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
but of course it's not Twin Peaks, you know, and there's a street called Sycamore Street just near where he lives, but
Mm-hmm.
it's so it's like a difficult passage to go through. Not a Northwest Passage. That was the original name of Twin Peaks, by the way, Northwest Passage. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you know, I just think obviously I don't think that Lynch and Frost would have wanted to go in and just started it as a sort of like, you know, oh, first scene back at the diner, and then like a refresh recap of everything that happened in the last 25 years with Shelley talking to somebody or whatever. But I think there's still scenes that seem a bit like that anyway, because I mean, with Norma, like, and her scenes are mainly devoted to her like running the business of her diners, which are going to become like a chain, whether they're going to use organic flour. So it's like I was watching that kind of stuff and I was thinking, this is the most exciting storyline I've ever heard. So it's like,
Organic flour.
but then these people online and they're like, oh, that storyline is just the return to a T. It's all about like how we've got to get back to the real heart of Twin Peaks, like the real organic flour of it. You know, it's just you can't just go in and kind of just sort of have everybody drinking coffee and, you know, saying it's damn fine. And
What? I think it's good to make people drink coffee.
I think they could have done something to have at least got Cooper back to the Double R diner, because everybody would have thought like, okay, they're going to have like a Twin Peaks revival. Surely we're going to get a scene of Cooper in the Double R, but yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, you know, just like I mean, I'm happy with everything he produces because, you know, I'm a fan. So it's just like very hard to find anything new that David Lynch made, right? I mean, what did he make lately? What did he make?
Well, so people joke about that. The what did Jack do? You know, the monkey film.
Not paintings. Oh yeah.
That was just made for a festival, and then, you know, before Twin Peaks: The Return came out, so it wasn't intended as like, you know, a new film or something. It's just a bit of amusement for people.
Yeah.
Some of it was quite funny in its own weird way, but pretty unusual.
I haven't seen it.
The sucked off in the air was the start of Laura's part of the plan going tits up. Thanks for summing that up better than I did, Gary. Yeah, I mean, basically what happened is when they filmed that, they actually had a vacuum cleaner, quite an industrial-sized one, above Cheryl Lee's head, and they were literally sucking her up there. That's what was happening there.
Oh my God, to be sucked in a vacuum cleaner must be horrible. Can imagine.
Phantom Cooper. I'm not saying I want fan service. I'm just saying that there's room and maneuvers to do these things in a suitable manner. Like, if it's just shoehorned in there with no kind of meaning to it or not. Like the thing with The Return is, especially at the end, like where Cooper's like looking at himself in that situation, it's overlaid with him. You look in the sheriff station, all that. It's like very obvious that something's very strange going on with reality there as such and all that kind of thing. But it's just in Cooper's face, you know, like when he's smiling as well in that scene. It's like there's just this kind of desperation, you know, and it's definitely there in the performance. And especially in the final scenes of the part 18 as well. I mean, that is the opposite of fan service, absolutely. In response to Phantom Cooper, you know, A. Cooper, whatever you want to call him, Richard or Clint Eastwood. I mean, that's Clint Eastwood's daughter in that scene, right? And he starts acting like, Francesca Eastwood, and then it's like he starts acting like Dirty Harry. You know, I'm gonna get these cowboys sorted, and it's like it's not fan service. This is the kind of opposite of fan service, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because people don't want Cooper to be laying out vigilante justice on people's ass, you know, and kicking doors down and things. I mean, not
kicking doors down.
Well, like kind of, or, you know, turning into one of the Taken films with Liam Neeson. It's like, yeah, I mean, there's supposed to be more sensitivity and everything with Cooper, isn't there? And
he was more. I think Cooper in the season 1 and 2 was more a guy of, you know, like a friend or something, like of the audience, or someone who you could like a lot and who you could empathize with, someone really enjoyable. But now he was just in the you know, season 3, he wasn't just, I don't know, he wasn't enjoyable. He was different.
No, I mean, people would have felt quite amiss, you know, like some of the Dougie stuff initially was kind of enjoyable when he wins loads of money and he goes home to take it to Janie E, but it's kind of just like
still felt awkward.
Passing it off as something like, but he doesn't even understand what the money is, how much it is, or anything. So it's like, So Janie's completely on her own there.
Like brain dead. Poor Dougie. It's like he is like pitiable in a way, you know.
Well, you just think like it's kind of a sad situation that he's in, but at the same time, it is comical.
Yeah,
I wouldn't deny that. Like, it goes back to some of the, but I think they could have made it even funnier, actually. Like Lynch always said how much he loved the W.C. Fields film "It's a Gift," where there's a blind man with a cane, and he goes into like a glass shop, and everything, you know, everything ends up being smashed to pieces.
Okay.
And so it's yeah, that's interesting, Gary. You're saying about it, it's like he was running out of time by part 17. And so it felt like that. Of course, it's like, why are we spending our time with this stuff where it's Freddy smashing the Bob thing, which is just reusing like old footage of Bob. It's the most like, because the thing with The Return as well is I couldn't believe it in a sort of weird way, just how like bluntly brazen and kind of tasteless at times. Like, oh yeah, like Major Briggs was a great character, wasn't he? And he was a great actor, Donis Davis. Let's just bring him back as a bloated corpse. I mean, that was.
Do you mean Frank Silva or who?
No, Major Briggs.
Ah, Briggs. Oh, okay, yeah.
And then we'll just have like a floating head as well. It's like
a floating head. Yeah, I know. They
It's
just
like Lynch
wanted to
basically
resurrect that.
he doesn't care about any idea of what is sensitive. He's just like, no, I'm going to do that, and like, you know, the corpse itself looks unrealistic, but also
Corpse.
if you actually watch part 17 after once there's the whole business with Freddy, it's sort of becomes far darker, a much darker episode going into 18 as well. So
Yeah.
there's just this
Yeah.
zaniness initially, and then it definitely goes into something pretty more sinister feeling.
But
very much
but that was,
kind of brings up the old feeling of the old Twin Peaks, I think, because it kind of.
yeah,
But this
yeah.
idea of Cooper is somehow aware that he's running out of time. That's really interesting in the sense that he's in obviously this TV show, but it's like as if he's kind of, you know, he's conscious of being in it just to a slight degree.
Being
somehow.
in a TV show.
Well, I don't think necessarily that's going like into Twin Perfect, their kind of his theory and all that. But I don't think Cooper's necessarily aware of being in a TV show, but it's like he's aware of being in some kind of just how much time there is left within these 18 parts, really.
That would be funny. You remember I don't know if you watched the YouTube interpretation of Twin Peaks, where it said that Twin Peaks is actually a satire on TV shows. Or so it's all about like the TV shows, and like making fun of how TV shows are, like the influence of TV and television on the human brain, something like that. I don't know, something really intellectualistic or something. I didn't agree.
Well,
like people being in a TV show, the characters were in a TV show, and they were just trying to.
Was it talking about more the first season, for instance? Oh.
Yeah, the first season. Yeah, that's what they were.
Well, I think the first season of Twin Peaks that had the Invitation to Love playing on the TV show, and so that the characters were watching that. Particularly Lucy was watching it. Shelley was watching it in the pilot and things like that. But then Lynch said he didn't want that to be in by season 2 in a way, because maybe it just muddled things about a bit, and he wanted to concentrate on other things, perhaps, or just took a dislike to it. Who knows? But
yeah, I like James' song too.
But no, I don't think that the entirety of, I mean, Twin Peaks as some kind of portrayal of just TV is like really reducing it, into something that was done as some kind of like intellectual exercise to try and be clever. I mean, you may as well say that about something like Black Mirror or whatever, which.
Oh my God, Black Mirror! Like,
it might have more, but I'd still think that there's very few TV shows that. No, I think it's just, in a way, it's just an easy way of trying to over-analyze everything without actually properly looking into it.
And that's what they were doing.
Because I think a lot of the emotion in the original Twin Peaks, for instance, and particularly if you go back to the first season and the pilot and everything, it's like really, it's got some quite intense emotional parts. And certainly I don't think that's trying to satirize sort of soap operas or anything like that. Because Lynch himself said that when he was at art school and stuff, he used to watch soaps and things, and he used to for a while he got into them. So
yeah, sure, but these people on YouTube said that, remember the part where Leland was taking this shot from the nurse, and he was watching this this TV show, and also Lucy was watching this TV show about the dedication to love. No, what Invitation to Love. And it was like something similar that happened in a TV show happened in Twin Peaks, with the main bad guy, being caught or something like that. So it was like mirroring the reality of the Twin Peaks. That's what they said. There was like a hint to the characters in Twin Peaks being in a TV show or something like that. That anyway, you could search it on YouTube. You see, it's like a quite long and laborious video.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Twin Perfect, but
Perfect.
I think but the fact that there's a TV show in the actual show that's somehow mirroring something that's going on in Twin Peaks doesn't mean like that Twin Peaks itself as a show is somehow about TV. It's just
that's true. I
it was
agree.
just sort of like it was just a kind of motif or whatever within the show itself, which maybe Lynch found it a bit too cute, and that's why he didn't want it in there. Because, it's sort of like showing how TV or how fiction sometimes, mirrors reality, obviously.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's totally true. Like, I mean, reality can be much more scary than fiction or something like that. Yeah, you can reduce Twin Peaks to some commentary. It's true. I agree. I don't find it very very good to reduce Twin Peaks to that social commentary about TV. I think it's more deep than that, because remember, I don't know if you've read about Twin Peaks and the inspiration for Twin Peaks, because David Lynch was a fan of Helena Blavatsky. So he was inspired by her, I think, or something like that, to create this Black Lodge, White Lodge realities. Like the multi-dimensional kind of world, or multi-dimensional reality.
Well, are you referring to someone who spoke about this? Or?
Yeah, like I read about that David Lynch was influenced by Helena Blavatsky, who is a theosophy teacher, who talked about parallel realities a lot in her books. Parallel realities and the origins of the universe, or something like that. Parallel realities and all kinds of stuff. Going back into the past or something like that, like time being.
Well, it's more. I don't necessarily think Lynch is too well versed on Blavatsky, or it's more that may come, if anywhere, from Frost. But
Frost.
There's some book called The Devil's Tower by Talbot Mundy, and that's the first one that mentions the Black Lodge, and that was something which Frost knows more about. But like the Red Room and everything, as it was originally made at the start of the end of the pilot, they did it for the extended ending, etc. It was like it wasn't called the Black Lodge or anything at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing would have come from the other writers. That's not Lynch. And
you don't give him much. Don't give him much credit, poor Lynch.
No, I don't think that. Well, I'm just being honest.
I'm kidding.
I think with Lynch, I don't think he's really into reading theosophy, etc., as they're talking about in the chat. Like, if he's reading anything, he'll read things connected to, Indian sacred texts. So that whole side of things. Like, there was an incident where when Jen Lynch was young, and she found, or some had a book called Helter Skelter, and it was about the whole Charles Manson business.
Oh, okay.
And when her dad saw that she was reading this, he sort of he got hold of it from her and everything, and gave her a bit of a telling off, about it, saying this is like pure evil.
How dare you? How dare you, Louis? Something like that.
He was
You're grounded
just
for
trying
1 month.
to make sure she didn't get into it, you know.
But that's good, that's what good fathers do. Instead of encouraging her. If he
Well, it's only
encouraged her
stating
to
the
like
obvious, isn't it? I mean, the whole thing with Sharon Tate, I don't know everything about Charles Manson, but it's just
again, we're talking about him. He's
horrific.
like popular. No, he's not that horrific. I mean, I'm not trying to defend him, but after I've watched John Gacy's documentary, like I think Charles Manson is a child compared to
No,
John
but the
Gacy.
things that people in his cult
So I don't get it.
were
Why?
horrific, though, obviously.
Huh? What?
The things he got people to do were horrific, though. So
Yeah,
but
of course it is.
he was probably psychopathic to some
manipulated.
extent and delusional. You know, he's.
Yeah, of course. But he manipulated those people anyway.
I mean, he drew a swastika on his forehead, for God's sake, or tattooed it.
That's not a crime. You can draw whatever you want on your face. I'm not
Yeah, I
trying
know,
to
but
defend him. I
It's
just
just
want to say, but
demented.
yeah, of course he is demented. He's demented, but you know, like you know what I mean. It's not that horrible, what he did compared to the other guy that we're talking about. No,
Yeah,
Lynch is not very open-minded.
I think he's open-minded, but he's definitely
I'm
into
just
the
trying to
whole
make fun of him.
transcendental meditation stuff, you know. So,
Like, no, because if he was open-minded, he would try many types of meditation, not only transcendental meditation. Transcendental meditation is one type of meditation. You know,
what at his age,
I
you want
mean-
him to start doing lots of other kinds of meditation.
there are even better meditations out there. I don't understand this kind of fashion.
What do you want to do? Several weeks doing different meditation, then compare them all. I mean, but he's been tutored to do it in one particular kind of way. I mean,
but because you're just using that mantra and whatever. I don't think it's that good in the end.
Well, I think you should
You just
interview Lynch on this, to be honest. Just, I'd be interested to see this interview. You saying, "Oh, I don't think TM's that good," by the way. He'd go proper ape shit.
He would hunt me down.
Well,
no, I
did
mean
you not
because
see, there's a documentary, seriously, Marlene, called David Wants to Fly. It doesn't mean David Lynch. It's by this German guy called David. And he makes this documentary about himself trying to get to meet David Lynch and learn TM and everything. And through the course of the film, like his girlfriend splits up with him, which feels a bit kind of a bit fake. Like, okay, we've got to do something else in this. You're getting so obsessed to this whole TM thing, and I think I'm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about the celebrity crush because
but when he gets to meet Lynch and stuff, Lynch does get pretty angry with him because he starts saying about like the price of things and all that, and like all of the things that they make. They have a company called Maharashi, and it produces all sorts of supplements and things like this. So.
Okay, so
and Lynch starts saying those people should go a long way away from here, or something about. I can't remember how he responds to this, but like, Jesus Christ! Surprised Lynch didn't turn into like Liam Neeson in Taken after that.
So the guy finally gets to meet David Lynch, and David Lynch is not happy, right, with him.
He's not happy with some of the ways that he starts covering the TM organization. Like there was that time, that clip where they were in Germany and there was a guy who came on and he started shouting, talking about he's one of the like what I don't know what they call them, but anyway, like they have people who are head of certain areas of the organization. And he came on stage and he seemed a bit like unsure of what the hell he was talking about, and he started going on about invincible Germany and making Germany invincible and all powerful and all this and great again. And this one woman in the audience took against it, thinking he was sounding like a bloody Nazi, which he was, to be honest. But I mean, he sounded like a complete imbecile. And then Lynch was
Imbecile.
there with him, and Lynch just started trying to kind of talk, saying, well, this is not exactly what he was trying to say. Yeah.
I have only 10 minutes left. Well, before
All right, thanks. Okay.
I can stay because the people in the house are going to sleep.
Phantom
So,
Cooper says,
do you-
do you think Richard Ramirez is cute? That's
I had to bang a serial killer. Oh my god, I feel so silly that I don't know who that guy
I
is.
think he looked a bit disturbing, to be honest. But you saw Triangle
Richard
of Sadness,
Ramirez.
didn't you? So,
Triangle of Sadness, yeah, sure.
mm.
So
did
what about
you
it?
actually like it much, or did you? I wasn't really quite sure.
Yeah,
what
I
you
love
thought.
it. I actually love it. I love it because it's like a satire on rich people, right?
Definitely,
It's like
it's, it's about the whole idea of happiness, even as well, and particularly through
He's
sort
hot.
of like.
Richard Ramirez is hot.
Please,
Oh my god, what happened
God, please
with
stop
this
this
word?
I don't agree
It's not
with
my
this
fault
kind of
that
thing.
it's not my fault that I was like
Well, you know the actress in it, the one who looks like, well, she's a model, isn't she?
who, the actress in Triangle of Sadness?
Yeah. They were both
model.
models.
Yeah.
She won the cruise, didn't she? They said.
Yeah, because
that actress passed away, sadly. Yes.
The fuck? She passed
Just
away.
yeah, she had some kind of operation when she was quite young, and then it on her, I can't remember what I know, but she died through complications.
Oh
Got
no!
like
I didn't want to hear that.
It's really sad actually because she was good in the film. Very good.
Yeah, no, she was. Yeah, she was. That discussion about money between her and the boyfriend. Oh my god, it was
I
so
like that
realistic.
actually. It was good.
Yeah,
it
was good. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny.
Very realistic. because like so many women do that, they just let the men pay, or they just accidentally.
It's just funny how he got so perplexed and
forget
angry.
their wallet or something. No, because he felt used.
Really good.
Yeah.
I've seen him he's in something else. A few other new films. He's a new actor, I think.
The model.
I could imagine him in a Lynch film almost or something.
Yeah, he could fit well there.
But when like Woody Harrelson and they're just standing there and they're like at an angle and then they're just trying to look as if like everything's normal. When he eventually comes out on board, like the roast. How is the captain in charge of the ship if most of the time he's in his own room? It's very comical the way they've got like the bottles just sort of like rolling around on the floor and stuff like that. Considering that, he seemed pretty okay, but
yeah, no, Woody was really good in the movie.
It's a pretty funny film, and I do think it's good advice as well as like if you're seasick on a boat, remember to eat because that'll stop the seasick.
Oh yeah, have you been on a boat like that, like a cruise?
No, of course not. No.
Of course not.
But
what's wrong with being on a boat?
I mean, it didn't really look that appealing to me. It was just, I mean, obviously.
Of course. People died.
It was terrible. Only some of them survived. But still. It was terrible, though, when it certainly wasn't politically correct or anything like that. The way the Filipino woman suddenly described herself as captain at the end, that was like...
No, but I mean, it was really... I mean, it was expectable, right? Expecting. Because she was in a position...
It was fair enough.
Where she could... Yeah, because she was in a position where she could take the lead very easily.
It wasn't quite realistic. Like, for instance, they had like a certain amount of water bottles, but like they would have got through those in a couple of days, and then
That's so stupid.
Where were they getting water from? You know,
Can you drink from the ocean? No. Can you drink water from the ocean?
but it would just make you
No.
dehydrate and
potable.
get sick because it's got salt in it.
Yeah, it's not realistic, but I mean it's
Well,
a very
but
good
it certainly
idea.
wasn't by the ending when they discovered that they were right next to another like resort.
With an elevator.
Just off the beach. Yeah, like, I'm sorry, we've just discovered this now. What?
Yeah.
All of,
Duh. We are so stupid. It feels like
yeah, it's like
people
just a
have very
few
low-
kind of like things that you lay on the beach, put down, and some umbrellas,
Yeah.
and that's a 5-star resort, is it? As
Yeah.
long as you put an elevator going down to it.
Oh my god. I know. But I mean, yeah. So so I don't know if we are able to spoil it because we spoiled it for people in the chat. I mean,
Oh, it doesn't matter. There's only it's fine. Just another word from Voltaire, anyway.
This is Susudio. A great song.
What?
Personal favorite.
Well, thank you, Voltaire, for that. I'll have to check it
That was
out.
amazing. Thank you very much.
Listen, you'll have to excuse me. I have a lunch meeting with Cliff Huxtable at Four Seasons in 20 minutes.
Meanwhile, they're all dead, aren't they?
Which is exactly why we have to let the public know the truth.
Ask him what is he eating for lunch. Some kind of
What are you having for lunch, Voltaire?
This is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee.
That's what I was thinking. Pie, some kind of pie.
No, sorry.
But you
Well,
can have coffee for lunch.
The Return
That's
wasn't
very
like that, was it?
we
I'm
did
sorry
coffee and pie.
to differ with you, sir. But you are the caretaker.
Jesus.
You've always been the caretaker.
Voltaire's the caretaker.
This is the workout music. How do you work out with that?
Susudio.
This is Susudio. A great song. Personal favorite.
It's the way he sort of, speaks like, this is a great song.
Okay.
All right. Well,
All right.
did you want to mention anything
share
else you
my
saw
routine.
before you went, or before you go? I mean, sorry.
The Cemetery Man is planned for tonight. So I heard very good things about it. You know, the Cemetery Man from 1970s or 80s. A guy who
Isn't
kills,
that Rupert Everett?
Yeah, with Rupert Everett.
I've heard of that one, but yeah, it's
supposedly good. Let's see. Not
Well,
very David Lynch, but more like a zombie-like movie. Zombie movie.
yeah, more like Evil Dead or something, maybe.
Yeah. Evil Dead.
Maybe not.
We have to talk about
Right.
that because I have a lot of criticism against the Evil
Okay.
Dead.
Well, right now, Voltaire is in his apartment and he's got a VHS TV combi, and he's just slid Exorcist 3 into the the slot,
Exorcist?
and he's watched Exorcist 3, and he's
Exorcist.
The Exorcist 3, or just Exorcist 3 it's called. And
good.
he's usually got a bro back to watch it with him and have a few brewskis.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not read the did you not watch the Dharma TV series?
Dahmer. Oh, well, because Dahmer is that killer who, I can't spell. I feel a bit disgusted by that, so I don't know if I can stomach the the scenes.
Oh, you mean because he's a cannibal a bit?
Yeah,
It doesn't really. It
exactly.
doesn't really
I
show
never
that
think of
anyway.
it.
It's nothing.
It doesn't show. Yeah, it's
It
just a
doesn't
bit
really. It
extreme.
shows you some things, but it doesn't kind of go into massive graphic detail, I would say.
The actor though is very cute. He played in American Horror Story. Very,
Evan
very good
Peters,
role.
yeah, he's really, really good
Yeah.
in it. I mean, the thing is, if you're making like a serial killer cute, this is not necessarily.
Why are they trying to make all these people who murder everyone cute? Like,
Well, the thing is,
they
the
have
majority
to
of
hire
actors
ugly actors.
are usually
actors.
fairly attractive, aren't they? They don't.
Well, that's the problem in the Hollywood industry. That's someone has to change this trend. You wouldn't like it, right? Because you wouldn't see Monica Bellucci anymore.
Well, no, I'm not. That's Gary is a major fan of Monica Bellucci, but who watches
So
Gary North? So.
He wouldn't see her anymore.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll better leave it there for now, Marlena. And
yeah, it was great to talk.
Wish you a good night, and thank you everyone for tuning in as well.
Yes, thank you for this discussion, and see you next time. I don't know when it's next.
Yeah, hope to see you again, and thanks for talking.
Bye.
All the best,
you.
everyone. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.